This is the biggest escalation relating to piracy in the region since 2024. The incident is evolving, with 24 crew members still on board.
The Indian Ocean looked calm that morning. The $275 million cargo vessel MV Redwood Star sliced through the water. Engines steady, radar clear, crew relaxed. Then, without warning, the horizon exploded into chaos. 5 high-speed skiffs appeared from the east. Within seconds, the air filled with automatic gunfire. Rocket-propelled grenades streaked across the sky. Bullets slammed into steel. 60 Somali pirates had just launched a full-scale assault. And they had chosen the wrong ship. Because what they didn't know was that the United States Navy was already watching. This wasn't going to be a hijacking. It was about to become a 10-minute demonstration of overwhelming force. The target, MV Redwood Star. The MV Redwood Star was not just another cargo vessel drifting through pirate-infested waters. She was a modern, 950-foot container ship valued at nearly $275 million. Her cargo was even more valuable. High-grade industrial turbines, aerospace components, advanced manufacturing equipment, and sensitive electronics bound for Southeast Asia. On board were 30 crew members, a mix of American officers and Filipino seafarers, experienced, trained, aware of the risks. They had conducted anti-piracy drills before. They had reviewed emergency lockdown procedures. They had reinforced doors and secured safe compartments. But drills are one thing. A real attack is something else entirely. The Redwood Star was sailing roughly 180 nautical miles off the Somali coast, far enough to feel relatively secure, but still within reach of organized pirate networks that had become more sophisticated in recent years. The captain had just completed a routine systems check when the radar officer noticed something unusual. 5 small contacts. Moving fast. Too fast. 45 knots. Closing distance rapidly. The captain didn't hesitate. He ordered increased speed and evasive maneuvers. But the pirates had already committed. 60 pirates. 5 boats. 1 objective. The skiffs split into a V-shaped formation. Each boat carried around 12 heavily armed pirates. PKM machine guns were mounted at the bows. RPG launchers rested on shoulders. Assault rifles lined the rails. They were not random fishermen. They moved with coordination. At 300 meters, the first shots rang out. Long bursts of automatic fire tore into the outer hull. Sparks flew. Containers rattled. Crew members ducked behind reinforced barriers. Then came the RPG. The rocket slammed into the side plating near the forward cargo section. The explosion sent shock waves through the vessel. Smoke rolled upward. The pirates accelerated. Within moments, they were inside 150 meters, circling like predators. The Redwood Star's small onboard security team returned fire with semi-automatic rifles. The sound was sharp but limited. Their weapons were no match for the sustained barrage coming from 5 directions. Shell casings bounced across the steel deck. A crew member was struck by flying debris. Another narrowly avoided a direct hit as bullets ripped through a cargo crate inches from his position. The pirates laughed and shouted as they fired. They believed intimidation would force surrender. But the captain had already made his decision. Initiate Citadel Protocol. Retreat to the stronghold. The Citadel was the ship's final line of defense, a reinforced interior stronghold designed specifically for pirate attacks. Thick steel doors, independent communications, backup power, limited access points. As gunfire intensified outside, The crew began pulling back in organized formation. 2 sailors carried the injured crewman between them. Another secured the internal stairwell. Someone triggered automated lockdown procedures. Outside, grappling hooks flew. Pirates began climbing. One skiff came alongside the starboard hull. Ladders slammed into place. Armed men swarmed upward. Inside the ship, footsteps pounded across metal decks. The pirates were boarding. Within minutes, they had gained control of the outer perimeter. They fired sporadically into empty corridors, shouting commands, searching for crew. But the Redwood Star was eerily silent. The captain sealed the final internal hatch. The citadel doors locked with a heavy metallic echo. Inside, 29 crew members waited in darkness, breathing heavily. The captain reached for the secured emergency transmitter. He knew there would be no negotiation. He keyed in the encrypted distress signal, the message that changed everything. Mayday, Mayday. This is MV Redwood Star, under coordinated pirate assault. 60 hostiles. Boarding confirmed. Crew secured in Citadel. Immediate assistance requested. The message transmitted via satellite burst system. It did not go unanswered. Nearly 420 nautical miles away, a U.S. Navy carrier strike group was conducting routine operations. Within seconds of receiving the signal, alarms activated on the command deck. An American vessel under siege. Location confirmed. Hostile count estimated. The commanding officer didn't hesitate. Launch immediate response package. What the pirates didn't know was that above them, far beyond visible range, surveillance assets were already redirecting. And in less than 10 minutes, the sea and sky around them would belong to someone else entirely. Eyes in the sky. The hunt begins. The first sign that something had gone terribly wrong wasn't the sound of helicopters. It was silence. Above the MV Redwood Star, at nearly 25,000 feet, an MQ-9 surveillance drone slid into position. Its engines were nearly inaudible. Its cameras were not. Thermal imaging lit up the deck. White-hot shapes moved across the steel. Pirates spreading out, searching corridors, testing doors. Several clustered near the bridge. Others gathered near the cargo holds, arguing loudly, clearly confused by the absence of crew. Inside the Citadel, the captain's radio crackled. "Redwood Star, this is U.S. Naval Command. We have eyes on your vessel. Hold position. Do not engage." For the first time since the attack began, the crew felt something close to relief. On the drone feed, commanders watched as pirates attempted to breach internal doors using rifle butts and improvised tools. One fired an RPG down a corridor, hoping the blast would force surrender. It didn't. The Citadel held. Meanwhile, the drone continued feeding real-time intelligence back to the carrier strike group. Every pirate movement was tracked, every cluster marked. This wasn't guesswork anymore. This was a controlled operation. The sky comes alive. Less than 6 minutes after the distress signal was received, the flight deck of the carrier erupted with motion. 2 attack helicopters lifted off first, rotors chopping the air, weapons fully loaded. Close behind them, Black Hawk helicopters carrying a SEAL assault team followed in tight formation. The pirates never looked up. They were too busy arguing over locked doors and sealed stairwells. The drone operator zoomed in. Multiple pirates stood exposed on the open deck. Command authorization came instantly. "Proceed." The helicopters came in low and fast, using the ship's superstructure to mask their approach. The first warning wasn't a missile. It was sound. A deep, thunderous roar rolled across the ship, as the helicopters broke cover. Pirates froze. Some dropped their weapons, others spun in panic, firing wildly into the air. Then the precision fire began. Not indiscriminate, not chaotic. Controlled bursts slammed into the deck, pinning pirates in place, shredding cover, destroying weapons mounts without endangering the citadel. Within seconds, the pirates realized something horrifying. They were no longer in control. SEALs on deck. The Black Hawks flared and hovered. Fast ropes dropped. Dark figures slid down in rapid succession. U.S. Navy SEALs hit the deck running. They moved with practiced speed, pairs splitting left and right, rifles up, sectors covered. Every angle, every blind spot. Pirates who raised weapons were dropped instantly. Those who froze were disarmed and restrained. The attack helicopters continued circling, engines screaming overhead, making escape impossible. Any pirate who attempted to flee toward the rails found themselves staring down overwhelming firepower. The SEAL team cleared the outer deck in under 3 minutes. Cargo stacks, access ladders, equipment bays, clear. They moved inward. Inside the ship, the fighting was brief and one-sided. Pirates tried to regroup near the engine access corridor. They never got the chance. Flashbangs detonated. Gunfire echoed in short, controlled bursts. The difference in training was absolute. What had taken the pirates nearly 30 minutes to seize was taken back in less than 5. The citadel opens. Inside the citadel, the crew listened. First came distant rotor noise, then footsteps, fast, deliberate, then a knock. 3 short taps, a coded response. The captain approached the door cautiously. U.S. Navy, you're secure. The doors opened. For the first time since the attack began, the crew stepped out into the light. Outside, the deck was unrecognizable. Weapons lay scattered. Pirates were zip-tied and kneeling under guard. Several bodies lay motionless where the fight had ended. The ship was quiet again. Too quiet. The SEAL team leader reported in. Deck secured. No friendly casualties. 14 pirates were confirmed dead. 14 more were captured alive. The rest had either jumped overboard or been incapacitated during the assault. The entire operation, from first helicopter arrival to full control, had taken less than 10 minutes. A message sent. As the sun rose higher over the Indian Ocean, the MV Redwood Star resumed controlled movement under U.S. naval escort. The crew received medical checks. Minor injuries. No fatalities. For the pirates who survived, the reality set in slowly. They hadn't hijacked a cargo ship. They had triggered a military response. And the message was unmistakable. This wasn't about ransom. This was about deterrence. The U.S. Navy had demonstrated once again that attacks on American-linked vessels would be met with immediate, overwhelming force. No negotiations, no delays, just consequences. 60 pirates believed they could overwhelm a commercial ship. They believed speed, numbers, and brutality would guarantee success. Instead, they learned a hard truth. The ocean has rules, and when those rules are broken, the response is swift. In less than 10 minutes, the MV Redwood Star was secured. The crew was safe, and a pirate operation was erased from the sea. What do you think? Was this the kind of response needed to end piracy for good? Or will others still take the risk? If you want more real-world military stories like this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because out there on the open ocean, someone is always watching. What the pirates didn't realize. Long before the first helicopter appeared over the horizon, this battle had already been decided. Modern naval warfare isn't just about ships and guns, it's about information. When the MV Redwood Star transmitted its encrypted distress signal, it wasn't just a cry for help. It was a data burst. Coordinates, threat estimate, vessel status, crew condition. Within seconds, satellite networks relayed that data across secure military channels. Maritime patrol aircraft adjusted flight paths. Intelligence analysts pulled up piracy patterns in the region. Known pirate networks were cross-referenced. The pirates believed they were operating in isolation. In reality, they were stepping into a fully connected surveillance grid. The drone above them wasn't random. It was redirected from a routine overwatch mission. Its operators immediately began mapping pirate positions, identifying weapons, counting hostiles. Heat signatures confirmed roughly 60 individuals. Weapon mounts were tagged. Escape routes were calculated. By the time the helicopters launched, the SEAL team already had a layout of pirate positions where they clustered, where they were exposed, where they posed the highest threat. The pirates had firepower, but the Navy had awareness. And awareness wins battles before they even begin. The pirates' fatal mistake. Somali piracy had evolved over the years. Groups learned to strike fast, board quickly, and move hostages before naval forces could react. But the Redwood Star presented a different challenge. The crew did not scatter. They did not attempt to negotiate. They did not resist recklessly. They executed protocol. That one decision, retreating into the citadel, denied the pirates their greatest leverage, human hostages. Without hostages, there was no immediate ransom pressure. Without crew control, the pirates could not steer the vessel. Without access to navigation systems, they were stranded on a floating fortress. And that delay, those extra minutes spent searching empty corridors, gave the Navy time to arrive. When pirates attack commercial ships, their advantage depends on speed. This time, speed failed them. They had firepower, but they had no control. Inside the 10-minute assault, the operation that followed wasn't chaotic. It wasn't cinematic chaos. It was structured. Minute 1 to 2, helicopters establish air dominance. Warning suppression fire pins pirates into defensive positions. Minute 3 to 5, SEAL insertion. Outer deck cleared sector by sector. High-threat targets neutralized first. Machine gunners, RPG carriers, radio handlers. Minute 6 to 8, internal sweep. Flashbang deployment in confined corridors. Controlled engagement. Capture of surrendering pirates. Minute 9 to 10, citadel secured. Crew verified. Vessel systems assessed. Total friendly casualties, 0. Crew injuries, minor shrapnel and concussion. Hostiles neutralized or detained, majority. What appears dramatic on video is often brutally simple in execution. Training, repetition, discipline. The pirates fired wildly. The SEALs fired deliberately. That difference decided everything. Aftermath at sea. By late afternoon, the scene had transformed completely. The Redwood Star sailed under escort toward safer waters. Naval medical personnel stabilized the injured crew. Intelligence officers began questioning captured pirates on deck under guard. The bodies of the fallen attackers were documented. Evidence was collected. Weapons, communication devices, GPS trackers, satellite phones. Each detail mattered. Piracy networks are rarely isolated. Funding sources, informants, safe havens, all interconnected. This operation didn't just stop one attack. It generated intelligence for future prevention. Meanwhile, global shipping networks took notice. Within hours, maritime security bulletins were updated. Shipping lanes were adjusted temporarily. Naval patrol density increased in that corridor. Pirate groups monitoring regional chatter heard the same story. An American-linked vessel had been attacked. The response had come in minutes, and it had been decisive. The broader message: operations like this are not just tactical victories, they are strategic signals. For years, piracy off the Somali coast has fluctuated, rising during periods of instability, declining when naval patrols intensify. But every successful interdiction reinforces a pattern. Attacks against well-prepared vessels carry enormous risk. The Redwood Star was not the largest ship to sail those waters. It was not the most heavily defended, but it was connected. And that connection made the difference. The message sent across the region was clear: speed will not guarantee success. Numbers will not ensure victory. Surprise will not overcome surveillance. In modern maritime security, dominance belongs to whoever controls the skies and the data. On that morning, that control belonged to the United States Navy. 10 minutes. That changed the narrative. 60 pirates believed they could overwhelm a commercial cargo vessel worth $275 million. They believed aggression would lead to ransom. They believed distance from shore would give them time. Instead, they encountered a response so rapid, so coordinated, that their operation collapsed before it fully began. In less than 10 minutes, the Redwood Star was secured. In less than 10 minutes, a pirate assault became a failed operation. And in less than 10 minutes, a powerful reminder echoed across the Indian Ocean. The seas may be vast, but they are not unguarded. What do you think? Will operations like this permanently deter pirate groups? Or will desperation drive others to try again? If you want more real-world naval stories, high-stakes operations, and breakdowns of modern military responses, stay tuned. Because out there, beyond the horizon, the next incident is always just one signal away.